Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Soul Land 3 Legend of the Dragon King Part 50 based on novel. So let's start. That's amazing. There are 18 first-class cities in our federation and they are divided into the 5 regions: the north, the east, the south, the west, and the center. Each region has a few major cities, but the center region only has 2, Heaven-Do City and Shrek City. Even though that's less than the other regions, these 2 cities make up for it with their influence. Our eastern region actually has 5 first-class coastal cities that form the Sky Sea Alliance. East Sea City is ranked second among the 5. The Sky Sea Alliance tournament is held every 3 years to scout excellent geniuses and check out the strength and development of all the cities. Naturally, those who show the most talent are practically guaranteed to shine brilliantly in the future. The most outstanding people may even be chosen to represent the Sky Sea Alliance in the Federation-wide tournament that's held every 5 years. That's a grand tournament that involves the entire continent. Have you seriously never heard of this before? Tang Wulin awkwardly scratched his head. He really hadn't heard of this before. Who would even mention such a thing in a small town like Glorybound City? Even if someone had, he would have been too young to remember it. Isn't the federal tournament usually held in Shrek City? Xu Xiaoyan asked, staring at Tang Wulin in shock as he inhaled all of the gourmet food before him. That's right. It's held in Shrek City. Fortunately, Shrek Academy doesn't participate in that tournament, otherwise, the results wouldn't be suspenseful. It's been the #1 academy on the continent for the past 10,000 years after all. Xu Xiaoyan grew excited. Doesn't that mean we have a chance, then? Her words made Xie dispirited. What chance? We're still too young. I looked it up a long time ago. The federal tournament is being held next year and we'll only be 11 years old then. According to our age, we would be put into the 10 to 15 division. Considering that we'll only be 11 years old, we would be at a severe disadvantage. We would be facing the continent's greatest geniuses after all. And that's assuming we even qualify to enter. In order to qualify, we would need to participate in this year's Sky Sea Alliance tournament and place in the top 6 of our age group. Next time the federal tournament is held, we'll be 16 years old and get bumped up to the 15 to 20 division. It would be strange if we did well in that tournament. We really were born at the wrong time. Tang Wulin continued to gorge himself as he said, "Don't worry about rankings. It'll be fine as long as we gain some experience and knowledge. You don't have to be so determined to win." Gu said, "Who cares if we'll be 11? Who said that an 11-year-old can't be the champion? If you don't believe in yourself, who will believe in you? If you want to do it, then do it." Finishing her speech, Gu stood up to put her tray away. Xie's mouth curled in disdain as she left. She's talking as if we're actually going to participate in the Sky Sea Alliance tournament. Aren't you the only one participating, Wulin? Tang Wulin couldn't be bothered to speak anymore. Today's meal seemed more filling than usual. That was some delicious seafood. Tang Wulin had grown up on the coast, yet he had never eaten such amazing seafood. Aside from the mouth-watering flavor, an indescribable feeling of warmth spread throughout his body when the food entered his stomach. After lunch, all of them gathered to discuss Wu Zhongkong's strength and what tactics they could use to restrain him. As for victory over Wu Zhongkong, they had never even considered it. Their only goal was to survive against him as long as possible. Tang Wulin was confident about today's combat training since his blue-silver grass had become so powerful after reaching the 1,000-year level. Furthermore, Gold Light could finally play an active role in battle. If it hadn't been for Gold Light, Tang Wulin would have been too focused on neutralizing Gu's explosive ball of fire and ice to defend against her follow-up attack. In his opinion, Gu's greatest strength lay in her control over the element of space. She could teleport all over the battlefield with it and employ a myriad of different battle tactics. They eventually came to the simple conclusion that they could only prolong their survival by working together. "Xiaoyan, you said you're even stronger at night, so can you show us after dinner?" Tang Wulin wanted a thorough understanding of his new teammate to further develop their teamwork. Xu Xiaoyan hesitated for a moment before saying, "Okay." In truth, her family had specifically warned her not to reveal her unusual power. However, now that she came face to face with the greatest geniuses of East Sea City, she simply felt too powerless during the day. She knew that staying in Class 0 depended on whether or not she could obtain the approval of her new classmates. For this reason, she only needed a moment of thought before agreeing. If I don't show my strength, how am I supposed to fit in with these geniuses? There's no way I can match them with just observation skills and precise control. Sun with rays. Night fell soon after they finished dinner. The four classmates were walking toward a grove in the corner of the fields. Regardless of whether it was Tang Wulin, Xie or Ji Yu, all of them were curious about what change Xu Xiaoyan would experience at night. Throughout the Doluo continent, fantastical martial souls of every description could be found. If it was possible, then it likely existed. For example, Ji Yu's martial soul allowed her to control 6 elements. This was something that had never been heard of before, so just how unique was Xu Xiaoyan's martial soul? Inside the gloomy grove, Ji Yu raised her hand and summoned a resplendent golden light, illuminating their surroundings. Anticipation welled up in Xie. It was only natural since they were quietly doing mysterious things in a forest at night. Xu Xiaoyan stepped forward and looked toward the stars. This grove's canopy was nowhere near as lush as the one in the Spirit Ascension platform, so starlight easily pierced through it. Specks of starlight twinkled in the sky. She nodded once. "I'm starting." She raised a hand toward the sky while a yellow soul ring rose from beneath her feet and a slender ice staff appeared in her hand. The golden light from Ji Yu's hand struck the ice staff, giving it a holy aura with a golden glow. Xu Xiaoyan's expression turned grave. She raised the staff higher as light burst from her eyes. "The stars in the heavens that shine forever tranquil, grant me strength. My star wheel." Summoned by her gentle call, the tip of her staff suddenly began to shine, and a golden beam of light descended from the heavens. An orb of light instantly appeared at the tip of the staff. It gradually changed to become a 6-point star of golden light. This is a variant martial soul? This possibility instantly popped into Tang Wulin's mind. Furthermore, it was a mutation that could be controlled. Xu Xiaoyan's aura transformed the moment the star wheel appeared, changing from weak and delicate to confident and bold. She seemed more refined and pure under the sparkling starlight. Specks of starlight even found their way onto her soul ring, and a golden star adorned her forehead. With a wave of her staff, the star wheel shot out and embedded itself at Xie's feet. In that moment, Xie felt his body seize up as a chill permeated his body, stealing away his mobility. The star wheel grew bright, then exploded into icy shackles around his body. Xie quickly circulated his soul power in a bid to resist, but he was shocked to discover that there seemed to be some sort of mysterious seal on him that slowed his circulation. This? Xu Xiaoyan's complexion paled and she looked toward Tang Wulin. "I can draw upon the star wheel's strength at night, so my martial soul is called the Star Wheel Ice Staff. It's different from my big brother's ice staff. The Star Wheel Ice Staff is a special variant martial soul that has been passed down through my clan since ancient times. It's been several hundred years since someone last awakened it. The power of the Star Wheel will grow with me, so whatever spirit soul I fuse with will influence the Star Wheel. However, I can only display its full strength at night. I'm just an ordinary soul master with an ice staff during the day, but at night, I am blessed by starlight. The star wheel is separate from my ice attribute and is actually an astrological attribute that lets me draw power from the stars. The strongest aspect of the astrological attribute is how absolute it is. With my current strength, I can use the star wheel to seal one person for a minimum of 1 second, but it also depends on my target's strength. How terrifyingly absolute. Tang Wulin and Ji Yu exchanged glances, and their eyes mirrored the other's current emotion, shock. An astrological attribute? They had never heard of such a thing before, but its power was evident. Xie, the one with the highest cultivation among them, had his soul power sealed for 5 seconds. 5 seconds was a lot of time in which they could accomplish a great deal. Not even Tang Wulin was confident that he could resist Xu Xiaoyon's star wheel. Can you still fight after using the star wheel at full strength? Ji Yu asked. Xu Xiaoyon shook her head and smiled bitterly. Nope. I won't be able to move once I use the star wheel, otherwise, the seal will unravel and its power will weaken. This ability is best used in coordination with a team. However, according to my clan's records, the astrological attribute will gain more abilities as my cultivation progresses. It's almost like a second set of soul rings, as if I had twin martial souls. Unfortunately, during the day I'm pretty weak and can only use my ice staff. As expected, greater strength came with greater restrictions. Xu Xiaoyon couldn't move when she used her star wheel, nor could she launch any other attacks. Worst of all, it could only be used at night. These restrictions were just excessive, but even so, this ability's potential in a team setting was amazing. They could turn the tides in the crucial moments the star wheel brought, enabling them to seize victory. They could do a lot in a single second. I swear on my great-aunt, that's amazing. Xie said bitterly. A sweet smile graced Xu Xiaoyon's lips. Her star wheel ice staff lit up for a moment and the golden light and icy shackles on Xie quickly disappeared. In truth, she couldn't sustain the seal any longer. If her opponent was too strong, it would be very costly to maintain such an absolute seal. If her opponent struggled against those shackles, they might be able to easily break free after a second or two. Tang Wulin gave Xu Xiaoyon a big thumbs up. Her first soul skill, Star Wheel Shackles, was a great addition to the team. It was a mystical martial soul found on the mystical Delor continent. Sure enough, nothing was impossible in this land. It's a pity that we don't have any way to change day into night, otherwise we might have been able to give Teacher Wu a nice surprise, Xie said with a trembling body. His body still felt a bit stiff. Those shackles were a fusion of astrological and ice attributes after all. It couldn't possibly have been comfortable to be restrained by them. Tang Wulin smiled. It doesn't matter. We can find Teacher Wu and spar right now. There's no way he will refuse. He exchanged looks with Xie, and a wicked glint immediately appeared in the depths of their eyes. Xie couldn't bear to be the only one on the receiving end of such a sinister ability. 1 second of absolute sealing. Hee. Maybe we'll be able to surprise Teacher Wu. In the next moment, the four sat down cross-legged in tacit understanding and began meditating. Sun with rays. All of you want to challenge me right now? Wu Zhongkong stared at his 4 students, flabbergasted. Yes? Please give us pointers, Tang Wulin said earnestly. Let's go then. Wu Zhongkong nodded. It was already late into the night and was lights out for the dorm. Instead of the designated combat arenas, he brought them to the training fields. Regardless of whether these children were looking for trouble or had a surprise in store for him, he would gladly entertain them. A silent darkness hung over the field. Wu Zhongkong walked to the field center and gently removed his white robe. Come. Tang Wulin said, Teacher Wu, you're so powerful. Shouldn't you suppress your strength while battling us? The strongest one of us only has 2 rings, so why don't you restrict yourself and only use those 2 rings as well? Wu Zhongkong narrowed his eyes. He was an adult, and if he couldn't even guess what kind of schemes these children came up with, he wouldn't be fit to call himself a teacher. From the way these kids were speaking, he could clearly tell that they had challenged him with victory in mind. He was well acquainted with the strength of 3 of them. Xu Xiaoyon, however, was still a mystery. All right, Wu Zhongkong answered coldly. Tang Wulin and his teammates exchanged looks, immediately jumped backward, and got into formation. As usual, Tang Wulin was in the front with Xie beside him. Ji Yu was right behind him and Xu Xiaoyon positioned herself behind Ji Yu. The 4 of them now moved as one. Soul rings rose from beneath their feet, even more resplendent in the dark of night. Tang Wulin's purple soul ring shone the brightest of all of them, as if it were a noble among commoners. Strand after strand of blue-silver grass appeared in the surroundings, sheltering the comrades behind him while golden scales appeared on his right arm in a burst of light. Tang Wulin released a low growl and ferociously charged Wu Zhongkong, immediately using his first soul skill, Bind. Hundreds of strands of blue-silver grass whistled through the air, a display of the thousand-year soul skill's monstrous might. A roaring tempest arose the moment Tang Wulin launched his assault. One strand of blue-silver grass had sneakily launched Xie into the air. The moment that he arrived above Wu Zhongkong's head, he angled his body and descended upon his teacher. He didn't hold back at all and immediately initiated with Twin Dragon Storm. But it wasn't just a two-pronged attack. A wind blade, a fireball, and an icicle flew through a small crack in the barrier of blue-silver grass. They converged on Wu Zhongkong. Xie was just the opening act. They knew that one thing was certain: the longer they waited, the slimmer their chance for success would be. If they wanted to succeed, they had to immediately launch an all-out attack. Wu Zhongkong stood rooted in place, merely raising his Skyfrost sword and gently pinching its tip with his other fingers. In the face of the children's attacks, he remained still like an immovable mountain. Not even a flicker of emotion appeared on his face. It was as if there were nothing in this world that could affect him. The moment the onslaught reached Wu Zhongkong, he suddenly lashed out with his Skyfrost sword. An azure halo that seemed to possess some sort of limitless gravitational force formed around him. The halo pulled Gu's elemental attacks inside of it, ripping control of them from her hands. It was simple and effective, two things Wu Zhongkong excelled at. The Twin Dragon Storm easily drilled through the elements, but Wu Zhongkong's move had done its job. The might of Twin Dragon Storm had been greatly diminished. Wu Zhongkong's eyes flashed with a violet hue, and Tang Wulin defended with his own purple demon eyes. It was futile, however, as a wave of vertigo struck him, and the bind slowly unraveled. Just how shameless is Teacher Wu? He's actually using the purple demon eyes? He might not be using the full extent of its power, but that's still so shameless. This thought faded as quickly as it had appeared, and Tang Wulin charged again with renewed vigor and an entourage of blue-silver grass. Wu Zhongkong swung his Skyfrost sword. Its previous dignified aura had been replaced with blinding speed. Hundreds of sword waves shot out, accurately chilling and cutting through the slithering mass of blue-silver grass. It was just a single slash, yet hundreds of sword waves appeared. Each one clashed against the strands of blue-silver grass and kept them at bay. In a split second, Tang Wulin had been cut off from his teammates. However, he still continued rushing toward Wu Zhongkong. The Twin Dragon Storm finally descended from the sky, but Wu Zhongkong disappeared in a blur. After images of him appeared all around the field as he evaded with Ghost Shadow perplexing track. In the beginning, Xie could follow Wu Zhongkong's movements and adjust his assault accordingly, but soon his teacher's movements proved too fast for him to keep up with. By the time he touched the ground with his Twin Dragon Storm, his aim had been thrown off. His attack met nothing but air. A wave of frost flew out and Xie reflexively tried to defend against it with his Light Dragon Dagger. His strength was already exhausted, however, and he was immediately sent flying. At that moment, Tang Wulin arrived before Wu Zhongkong so that two were facing each other. Choosing not to fall back, Tang Wulin attacked Wu Zhongkong with his radiant golden dragon claw. Even if Wu Zhongkong had suppressed his cultivation to their level, he didn't have a single opening or weakness. Yet, in this single battle, he made a stunning choice. Icy mist exuded from him as sword waves burst forth and quickly weaved together to form a net, forming a protective barrier. And at that moment, a golden six-point star appeared beneath Wu Zhongkong's feet while shackles of ice shot out of it and latched onto his body. A metallic screech resounded. Tang Wulin's golden dragon claw had seized the sword wave net and crushed it. With the improvements in his cultivation and the aid of the mysterious heaven method, Tang Wulin could maintain his golden dragon claw for a full 20 seconds. But the results were far from his expectations. Though the Star Wheel shackles had activated at just the right moment, but Wu Zhongkong's stalwart defense exceeded their calculations. It had deflected the shackles within the split second, and while Tang Wulin had been able to crush the net, he had received backlash as well. He might have the sword wave sent a tremble down his spine and forced him to step back. This single step back had broken his offensive stance. Wu Zhongkong's eyes lit up and the ice shackles on his body splintered before falling to the ground. Despite the fact that he had suppressed his cultivation to 2 rings, his 2 rings and theirs were as different as the heavens and the earth due to his application of compressed soul power. The star wheel shackles could only last 2 seconds before his overwhelming strength. The frost scars had fended off Tang Wulin for 2 seconds, and now that he was freed, Wu Zhongkong pointed his sword at him. But at that instant, Wu Zhongkong saw Tang Wulin smile. He instantly had a bad premonition and unleashed another frost scar net without hesitation. However, he was too late. A palm gently landed on his back and an explosive tempest of fire and ice bombarded him. A layer of protective frost instantly coated his body, but it was not enough to prevent him from staggering forward from the blast. He released his full might, sending the 4 children flying. His icy expression cracked, revealing an unsightly face. Woohoo! Xu Xiaoyan was the first to celebrate. That was right. They won. In the last minute, Wu Zhongkong had clearly revealed a strength far beyond 2 rings in order to protect himself. He withdrew his Skyfrost sword. Considering his status, it was impossible for him to admit his defeat, so instead he asked indifferently, "Whose plan was this?" Tang Wulin snickered. "Teacher, it's mine." Wu Zhongkong nodded. "Very good. We'll continue again tomorrow. And this time, I'll use 3 rings. Of course, this also means I'll be using my 3 corresponding soul skills." He turned around and left after dropping this bomb, his white robe fluttering in the wind and his aura as glacial as ever. The excited 4 children froze with shock and disbelief written all over their faces. 3 rings? 3 rings is vastly different from 2 rings. It's the same as comparing the 100 refinements to the 1,000 refinements. They had thought that their victory would spare them tomorrow's training or cause Wu Zhongkong to alter their training program. What they had not predicted was that not only would their dreams be crushed, they had summoned forth a nightmare instead. "Boss, this wasn't part of the plan." Xie was on the verge of tears. In their strategy, Xie was cannon fodder used to distract Wu Zhongkong. In fact, they had even told him directly that he would be cannon fodder. Wu Zhongkong definitely wouldn't have believed that Xie was their main assault force. However, the twin dragon storm possessed a terrifying power against those of the same rank, forcing Wu Zhongkong to divert a part of his attention to dealing with him. Tang Wulin had taken many things into consideration when he drafted up their battle plan. He had known that Wu Zhongkong would be skeptical if they suddenly challenged him during the night. With Wu Zhongkong's thorough understanding of the 3 strengths, his suspicions would naturally fall onto Xu Xiaoyan. The ingenuity of Tang Wulin's plan lay in misleading Wu Zhongkong. With Wu Zhongkong's character, he would naturally assume that the entire team was set up so that Tang Wulin's golden dragon claw would make the final strike. The truth was, they really had set up their formation like that. From Tang Wulin's very first attack to Xie's descent from the sky and Gu's coordinated assault, everything had been building up to that one claw. But their plans had been exposed too quickly. Tang Wulin's claw was uncovered, and his blue-silver grass was repelled by frost scars. Even so, the grass had done its job. All it had to do was conceal the actions of Xu Xiaoyan and Guu at the rear. Guu had begun preparing her fire and ice explosion barrage the moment she unleashed her first wave of elemental attacks. Her preparations had only been able to finish without interruption thanks to the masking effect of the 1,000-year bind. In the final moment of the battle, Wu Zhongkong had relaxed after freeing himself from the Star Wheel's restraints even though Tang Wulin had broken through his defense. Everything had gone according to his predictions of the children's plans, and sure enough, they had figured a way to disturb him. He had assumed that they had exhausted all of their means. And the minute he relaxed his guard, Tang Wulin's dragon claw would shoot out. It would have been the decisive strike. As Wu Zhongkong thought that, the explosion of fire and ice blasted him in the back. Not only had he suppressed his soul power down to their rank, he had also restrained his spiritual power, diminishing his awareness substantially. This was the reason why he hadn't noticed the true plan devised by these children. If he hadn't released his full strength at that last moment, there was no doubt that he would have suffered some injuries. The children's plan had been perfect. Not only had they coordinated their abilities impressively, they had even exploited the fundamental character flaw of their opponent. After realizing how detailed their plan had been, Wu Zhongkong needed to know who had devised it. The fact that such a brilliant plan had been hatched by a 10-year-old child meant the child possessed indescribable potential. Unseen by the children, a smile tugged at his lips as he left. As a teacher, how could he be dissatisfied with such amazing students? Xu Xiaoyon's star wheel shackles had also left a deep impression on him. It had completely sealed his soul power for an instant, a truly terrifying ability. It seems they'll be giving the Academy a nice surprise at the Sky Sea Alliance tournament. Sun with rays. The children sullenly returned to their dormitory and into their beds, dreading the next day. The star wheel shackles couldn't possibly have much effect on a three-ringed Wu Zhongkong. What were they to do? All they could do now was play by the ear. Their intense lives of studying and cultivating resumed once more. Xu Xiaoyan quickly found her place in the team. Not only was she clever and working well with the team, she was also bright and adorable, the exact opposite of Gu. Due to her pitiful strength during the day, she always worked hard to improve herself. What left Tang Wulin helpless, however, was how talented she was. Her soul power had increased to rank 18 in just 1 month, while he still struggled to reach rank 17. Even with the mysterious heaven method, his cultivation speed was extremely slow. Tomorrow we're going to Sky Sea City, Wu Zhongkong announced. Tang Wulin, stay behind after class. We're going to Sky Sea City? The largest city on the East Coast? The 4 students looked at each other in confusion. Xie was the first to give in to his curiosity. Are we going there to watch the Sky Sea Alliance tournament, Teacher Wu? Wu Zhongkong looked at him. You're participating, not watching. Participating? Wu Zhongkong waved them out, forcing Xie, Gu, and Xu Xiaoyan to leave in a daze. Tang Wulin stood up, waiting for Wu Zhongkong to speak. The Academy told me that the Blacksmiths Association wants you to participate in the Blacksmiths competition at the Sky Sea Alliance tournament. Is that true? Tang Wulin nodded. Wu Zhongkong said, I did some research. It shouldn't conflict with any of our class's matches, so it should be fine. Oh? Tang Wulin acknowledged. Teacher Wu, what competition are we participating in? Wu Zhongkong said, the 3-man team event in the juvenile division. The Sky Sea Alliance tournament is very large and will have countless events. Obviously there will be events for Soul Masters, but they are divided into individual and team competitions. Team competitions are either groups of 3, 5, or 7. You should pay close attention to the 7-man matches. You, Xie, and Gu will form a group and participate in the 3-man team competition with Xu Xiaoyan as a substitute. As the team captain, you need to think about how you will obtain good results in the team competition, as well as the blacksmiths competition. Your goal is to become the champions. Champion? But we're still 11. Xie told me that we would have to compete against people who are 10 to 15 years old. That's a bit. Wu Zhongkong coldly said, age does not determine one's strength. You just need to try your best. The outcome is not the most important thing, understood? Yes, Tang Wulin answered. You can leave now. Go prepare for tomorrow's trip to Sky Sea City. All of the participants from East Sea City will be leaving together, so you don't have to worry about meeting up with your colleagues from the Blacksmiths Association. Yes. For the past month, Tang Wulin had been entirely focused on preparing for the blacksmiths competition. Although he could not yet forge a first-grade metal, his success rate for second-grade metals had already risen to more than 80%. Even among other 4th-ranked blacksmiths, such a success rate was rarely seen. As Mu Chen had said, Tang Wulin's inability to forge a first-grade metal was not due to a lack of understanding, but a deficiency of soul power. Soul power was the foundation of soul masters, and it was also crucial to blacksmiths. The higher one's soul power, the higher the chances of imbuing spirit into metal during forging. Even if he was a divine genius in the realm of blacksmithing, his status as a one-ring soul master would only hinder his advancement in the craft. According to Mu Chen's guess, Tang Wulin would immediately be able to forge first-grade metals once he possessed 2 rings. His training menu under Mu Chen did not change. it was still focused on solidifying his foundation in preparation for the future. After all, he was still young and did not need to take risks in order to achieve a first-grade 1000 refined creation. What Tang Wulin had not expected, however, was that they would be one of the teams representing East Sea Academy and they would be competing in the junior division for the Soul Master Team battles, no less. Although he was shocked, he was also eager for combat. Locked within an abyss of suffering for the past month, Tang Wulin T had not visited the Spirit Ascension platform even once. Instead, he faced Wu Zhongkong in battle every day. He would rather face a 10,000-year soul beast than fight Wu Zhongkong. After all, he had personally witnessed his teacher slaughter a 10,000-year soul beast as if it were just a walk in the park. The only fruit that was born from that night's victory was an escalation in the intensity of their training. Even while combining their forces and utilizing the dirtiest of schemes, they could not hold a candle to a three-ringed Wu Zhongkong. As the team captain, Tang Wulin took the brunt of Wu Zhongkong's attacks, each battle leaving him covered in bruises and cuts. Yet, it was precisely because of such harsh circumstances that their coordination and soul power improved so quickly. Tang Wulin could sense that he was but one step away from reaching rank 17 now. However, his intense cultivation schedule conflicted with his forging practice, leading him to be unable to meet his task quotas. Naturally, his income tanked. Whenever Tang Wulin thought of the Sky-Sea Alliance tournament, his pulse would pound incessantly and his eyes redden until they were bloodshot at the thought of the award money that would solve quite a few of his current problems. Now that he was a fourth-ranked blacksmith, his potential income skyrocketed and he had been able to clear his debt to Wu Zhongkong. His wallet wept at its empty pockets. Teacher Wu. Before walking through the door, Tang Wulin suddenly spun around. Is there an award for participating in the tournament? Wu Zhongkong stared at him. If the team performs well, there will be one. Although there is a monetary award given to the top 32, the sum only becomes significant once you breach the top 16. As for receiving an endowment from the academy, all of you are already draining the academy's resources dry. Especially you. Your food expenses are nearly enough to feed the entire intermediate division. Tell me, do you still want a reward? Tang Wulin dared not speak out. Instead, he stuck his tongue out like a little rascal. But was the truth not spoken? He knew that he was just shoveling in that high-class, nutritious food that aided in his cultivation, seemingly to no end. Obviously, the expenses for such nourishment were high. With all that healthy food, his cultivation was progressing at a magnified rate, even to the point where preparing to break through the second seal seemed more feasible than ever. The fact that he could even eat such delicious food often brought him joy. Teacher Wu, can I participate in the individual competition then? Maybe I'll be able to enter the top 30, Tang Wulin probed. He could not afford to let a single lucrative opportunity slip away. His attitude toward money had changed after all the pain and suffering he went through just to be able to purchase his first spirit soul. If he had more money back then he would not have been forced to settle for a trash spirit soul. Since then, Tang Wulin vowed to rake in the money in the future, to the extent where he would never have to worry about making ends meet. If Mu Chen ever discovered his disciple's true reason for forging, he would have hopped up and down from rage. If you're not worried about being tired, then you can go ahead, Wu Zhongkong answered with an apathetic edge. Tang Wulin said, as long as the schedules don't in conflict, I'm confident I won't get tired. I'll have to inconvenience you to help me sign up then. At the very least, the boy had some faith in his strength. Although he did not wield 2 rings as of yet, he did hold a 1000-year soul ring. His 1000-year blue-silver grass was a major source of confidence for him. Sun with rays. When he returned to the dormitory, Tang Wulin found his friends already at the door waiting for him. How was it? What's the situation? Faced with their inquiries, Tang Wulin quickly briefed them on his conversation with Wu Zhongkong. I'll join the individual competition too, Gu said earnestly. Xie loftily said, me too. Xu Xiaoyan shook her head. I think I'll pass. The competition isn't held at night, and even if it was, I lack the confidence. Participating as a substitute in the team competition is enough for me. A mischievous smile appeared on Xie's lips. Say, If we really do become the champions, do you think Shrek Academy will come scout us? Maybe they'll invite us to join them? The corner of Xu Xiaoyon's mouth twitched ever so slightly. Quit dreaming. Even if we do win first place, it's still just an unremarkable three-man competition at the Sky Sea Alliance tournament. Use your common sense and think about what sort of status they have. I heard that there have never been more than 100 students part of the inner court of Shrek Academy at a time, and each and every one of them is a monster. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to call it a pond of dragons and a den of tigers. I also heard that even the chairman of the Federation personally pays a visit to Shrek Academy's president twice a year. If Shrek Academy hadn't maintained a neutral stance during the Three Continents feuds, do you think the Star Luo continent and the Heaven Do continent would still exist? In shock, Tang Wulin asked, "Is Shrek Academy really that great?" With utmost seriousness, Xu Xiaoyan said, "That's right. My family told me that it's a place completely separate from the world of us normal people. Shrek Academy recruits students once every 3 years, and each time there are less than 1,000 people qualified to apply. It would be a small miracle if more than 100 people are accepted at a time. In fact, sometimes only 20 or 30 people are accepted. But of those students, only 1 in 10 can enter the inner court. It's quite obvious just how high their standards are. Shrek Academy's unfathomable quality is not something we have the privilege of understanding." Tang Wulin and Xie Xie both exchanged a look. Although it was impossible for them to know what Shrek Academy was like, there was bound to be someone who did. Teacher Wu. Don't the rumors say that Teacher Wu came from Shrek Academy? If the admittance standards for Shrek Academy are that high, then just how amazing is Teacher Wu? Tang Wulin said, "Even so, this is a great opportunity for us. Don't think too much about getting a high rank, everyone. Just do your best and gain some good combat experience. As long as we don't give up, we'll definitely have a shot at entering Shrek Academy one day." This video will end here.